Hi, it's me, MC of Healthy by George. I come each week to talk about elements of our life to help us stay healthy into our much older age. So, I want to talk about the week of our New Year's celebration. It's Monday, and guess what? It's going to be New Year's right around the corner. So, how can we think about resetting and refreshing a way of how we look at our lives, how we engage in our lives, and how we can really let go of judgment and comparison so we can focus on our health and well being? So please think about subscribing. I would love to see you here each week where we can share and discuss these things that keep us vibrant and alive and functioning well into our 80s and 90s. Click that like button and share. I would really love to see you here. So, why is it important to think about the new year? I think many people, I know I read Mel Robbins, her wonderful little booklet about how to think about last year. I did a goal setting group with a lovely woman, and I'll leave you guys the links in the show notes. And the truth is that, yes, this is a perfect opportunity for us to reflect and maybe reset or refresh. Either of these things are all helpful because it doesn't hurt to really reimagine how we would like our year to go. And the only way we can think about that is to reflect on how our past year went. And I have to tell you, I had a hard time remembering what in the heck happened last year. I had to scroll through last year, and then it was like, oh, yes, I was recovering from a surgery last Christmas, and then I was preparing for a second surgery for my hip replacement in May, which went terribly wrong. I lost a whole summer. So reflecting was really a challenge for me. But I think what was wonderful about reflecting is that I realized, wow, I really overcame a really difficult time during the summer. And it was complex, but I was able to get through it. And it hardly feels like I went through that at all. And now to refresh and reset what it is that I want is not a simple question because we all desire to go after our big dreams. But I recognize that the only way that I can truly go after my big dreams is to recognize where I am right now in comparison to where I see myself in the future. In fact, it was a hard realization when I looked back to see what was my weight, what were my measurements, what was I doing last year at this time? And the truth was is I was about at the same place, which isn't a bad thing. Actually, it was actually a really good thing that I've been able to, despite some really challenging things that happened, to maintain where I am with my weight loss. I do recognize that even though I haven't really lost a lot more weight, my size has changed, which I think is wonderful because I've been able to get more active now that I've had the hip repairment. Thank goodness. I can walk a little further. Hallelujah. Walking in the early part of last year was a big challenge. So, how can we help ourselves do an emotional check in right now? I think that's what's key without really judging ourselves, but just come with compassion and kindness and reflect in a descriptive way. How were we doing last year? Where are we now? What did we get accomplished? What didn't we get accomplished? What do we want to keep on doing? What do we want to stop doing? And perhaps what do we want to start doing? And I think that all starts with what can we incorporate small steps into our daily lives that put us in the direction of where we want to be by next year. And the only way that we can get at that sometimes is with some very deep, intentional actions. I know I've already set up a time to work with a friend on a week from now for 2 hours where we can both support each other to really do a deep reflection on what are the many steps, small steps that we need to do between now and March that will get us one bit step closer to our bigger goal. Because that's the only way we can put our arms around the goals that we desire. whether they're health goals, wellness goals, mental goals, purpose filled goals, any of those things can feel overwhelming if we don't break it up into bite size chunks. Because that's really where we get lost, is when I know I get lost. If I start thinking about how I have to eat the whole thing, as they say, the whole elephant, you can't really do it. You have to take it one bite at a time. And so, what are those small bites? And how can you look at what you did the past year that you can see, oh, that was successful for myself? And I was able to gain ground on that, but I didn't do very well with this process. How can I help myself let go of that? Or is it anchored to some negative thinking that we have about ourself or our body? I know for me, what really came up is I do have a deep negative thinking or negative thoughts about my body. I think it's hard when you're someone who was overweight for more than 40 years to suddenly let go of the negative thoughts you have about your body, and that you have a hard time just being relaxed around food and relaxed around the daily activity of whatever it is that you need to do that keeps you on that wellness path. I know that I speak to my family, my brother particularly. He's really been amazing. I don't know how he does it. He really has lost a lot of weight. He has done some amazing feats with cutting out carbs and sugar. Radical, because I know where his purpose comes from. And I think that's the key, is what is the end goal that you want in mind? Is it that you want to have a more functional life? You want to be able to take those long walks. You want to be able to do what you need to do without having to stop and take a break, or that you don't lose energy at the end of the day and feel like you're exhausted. That comes with intentional work every day of doing the exercises that are going to give you endurance. And that's what I'm looking for. Looking for endurance by building more muscles, by building more capability of going out for longer walks, for doing more physically, because the truth is longevity and healthy living into our later years, we have to hang our hat on the movement that we make every day. Move, move. That means that every hour that you are sitting, get up and go move some. I know I am being very intentional about that. And I think when I look back at it, I'm going to go into that even more and do even more intentional movement. So, how are you going to refresh and reset and repurpose the life that you desire? And I think it does come down to what's that deep goal or purpose or drive that I can hang my hat on. I know for me, I deeply want to be functional well into my 80s and 90s. I want to be thriving. I want to be invigorated. I want to be able to do the same things that I'm doing now as I will in my last 10 years of my life. I don't want to hit 70 or 75 and feel like I've fallen off a cliff because I'm no longer strong, or I feel weak or stiff or lack energy. I really don't want to do that. Do you? And I think unless we're intentional now, and I think that unless we're doing those things daily that we need to do, we're not going to be capable of keeping that invigorated life well into our 80s and 90s. I want that deeply for you and for myself. And I think what keeps me going is that I have so much more I want to do in this world. Don't you? Aren't there things that you want to experience, to visit, to engage in, to accomplish, to explore, to create? I think that's what keeps me going, is how to keep creating well into my 80s and 90s with the same invigorating energy that I feel right now. So, how are you going to refresh and goal set for your well being? How are you going to connect to friends? I know for me, I have to be intentional about it. There aren't many of my friends living here in New York, and so I really have to schedule time with these people. I have to be persistent, reach out, call, leave messages, get it on the calendar, get it on the calendar. I live by my calendar. How about you? Are you putting things down in your calendar that are important for you, for your connections, for your well being, for your goals, for your physical goals? How about making a calendar for the things that you need to do for your wellness? Do you have that dental appointment scheduled, that eye appointment, those checkups that you do with your primary care or whatever doctors you're checking in with? Put it on the calendar now. Get ahead of it so that it's not something that you're having to guess or think about. That's the key is frame your stuff with intention. Give yourself time to think through, where do I want to be by the end of January? Where do I want to be by the end of February? Where do I want to be by the end of March? And just keep it small, intangible, and intentional. I know that's what I'm doing. I have my little journal, I have my little notebook, and believe me, I put down 3 things I would like to do each day. And if I get one done, that's good enough. Good enough. I'm only competing against myself, my friends. So be well. We have this one precious life. Let's do a refresh. Let's reset. Let's reconnect in some ways that we know will give us a well being that will keep us thriving well into our 80s and 90s. I'll see you next week. Bye bye. So, thank you so much for joining me at Healthy by George. I hope you found the information inspiring and that it encourages you on your wellness journey. Because remember, your body, your well being are a most precious gift, and every tiny action taken daily can make a huge difference. I hope the information here is educational purposes and is not meant to replace your medical care. See your doctor and talk about what works for you. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me continuing creating content that inspires and empowers you to live your best life. Goodbye for now, and join me again at the next Healthy by George.